Hi everyone, I am Hepzhibah from the 2011 batch, and I am glad you are here to share your devotion time with me. So I want to ask you one question and I want you to answer it immediately. Don't try to think what is the right answer, but just the first thing that comes in your mind, just think about what that answer would be. Who are you? Like if I would ask myself, I would say, who is Hepzhibah? So what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Is it I'm a doctor, I'm a teacher, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a wife, and a lot of things. So the first thing that comes to our mind, we define ourselves by who we are and what we do. It's either my job, my qualification, I'm a scientist, or I'm a medical professional, I'm a nurse, and that's all true, no harm, nothing wrong. And we define ourselves by the relationships that we have, the responsibilities that we have, like like I'm the manager and all of that. But I want you to take at least 3 minutes or 4 minutes to think about who God says you are, in view of eternity, who God says you are. And the one thing that God repeatedly says is that you are His child. I mean, in John 1:12, He says, to all who did receive Him, to those who believed in His name, He gave the right to become children of God. So if you have received Jesus and if you do believe in His name, you are a child of God. And that's another example is the Lord's Prayer. It starts with Father. Who calls anyone Father? Only their child, of course. So now I want you to think of one more thing. So what does a child of God behave like? What does a child of God think like? What kind of decisions does a child of God make? Now I'm not saying you have to be perfect. None of us can, obviously. But we do have choices to make. I mean, our entire life is just one choice after another. So the kind of way we live, are we living like a child of God? I mean, we do go to church, we pray, we read, we are a Christian, like a Christian, but are we a child of God? Is that a relationship, like an actual relationship, a father-child, a father-son or a father-daughter relationship between God and you? And does that influence everything else about you? Your the way you speak, the way you behave with other people, the way at work, the kind of decisions you make, the level of integrity that you have, and everything. Now a lot of things can influence our actions or our lifestyle, like the people we are. What others say about us influences a lot of us. We want people to think a certain way about us. We want them to think, like if I want people to think that I'm a good person, that I'm a kind person, so I'm being kind to them or being good to them, and I wouldn't intentionally be mean to someone if that's what I didn't want to think. I didn't want them to think of me like I'm a bad person or an evil person. But then there are times when we compromise on our values just so that people would think better of us, or in a way that they think is good or they think is right. And I want to encourage you today to, every choice that you come across today, I want to think, okay, what does a child of God do? How does she or he behave? In your relationships, does she forgive more? Is she humble more? Does she think before she speak? Does she protect the peace? Does she save the relationship and doesn't mind not winning the argument? So, and the best example for a child of God is Jesus, like obviously Jesus. So think about the situations that He came across. I mean, we know very few situations like the parables and the stories that we have. And put yourself in His shoes. What would you have done? When someone spoke rude to you and you were like, your father owned the freaking universe, would you just sit there and let them talk whatever they want? But that's what He did, and He did have all the power in the world, and that's what He did. So I want to encourage you to live like a child of God and try. It's hard, I would tell you that from personal experience. It is very hard, but it's not impossible. With God all things are possible. So yeah. Thank you.